speaker is Jyoti Dasgupta from IISER Pune, and she will speak about stability of equivariant vector bundles over toric varieties.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I'd like to thank the organizers for letting me speak here. So today I'm going to speak on stability of equivariant vector bundles over toric varieties. This is a joint work with Arijit De and Vivash Khan. So first, why do we need to study semi-stability? So one reason is that they are building blocks. For torsion-free sheaves, there is a canonical increasing filtration by torsion-free sheaves, such that every successive quotient is what called semi-stable torsion-free sheaf, and this filtration is known as the Harder-Narasimhan filtration. And likewise, every semi-stable torsion-free sheaf will have filtration, where every successive quotient will be stable. So this is the Jordan-Holder filtration. So in this sense, semi-stable and stable sheaves are building blocks. And another possible reason is that when we are considering moduli spaces, then these moduli spaces are roughly the set of the moduli spaces is a classification space of objects of consideration. And usually we would like to consider geometric objects and to get a geometric structure on the moduli spaces. And it is seen that if you restrict attention to semi-stable sheaves, then this moduli space will have a nice structure. So these are one of the two reasons why you would want to be interested in this. So let me go to the definition. So take X to be any non-singular projective variety of dimension n. And for simplicity, we'll now consider only varieties over complex numbers. And H be an ample divisor on X. Then for any coherent sheaf E on X, we can define its degree to be C1 E dot Hn minus 1, where C1 is the first Chern+ of E. And the slope to be the quotient of degree by its rank. Then one defines the slope stability, which is also known as the mu stability, which is introduced by due to Mumford and Takemoto. And this is for a torsion-free sheaf. It is said to be semi-stable if for any coherent subsheaf f of E with a rank of f being between 0 and rank of E, slope of f is less than equal to slope of E. And if this inequality is strict, then we say the sheaf E is stable. And if the sheaf E is not stable, then we'll say that it is unstable. So one immediate example will be line bundles, because there are no proper coherent subsheaves. And again, from semi-stable sheaves, one can construct another semi-stable sheaf by the means of taking tensor product. So in particular, if we restrict our attention to Fano varieties and consider tangent bundles of them, then one can talk about semi-stability of those. And by Fano varieties, we mean a variety with the anti-canonical divisor is ample. So this semi-stability of tangent bundle of Fano variety is the algebraic geometric analog of existence of Kähler-Einstein metric on a smooth manifold. And okay, so an open question is that if the tangent bundle of a non-singular Fano variety with Picard number 1 stable, so for Picard number bigger than 1, this is not necessarily true, and the complete picture in dimension 2 is given by Tian and Falui, and in dimension 3 it's given by Stephens. So what will happen in higher dimensions? So it turns out in general, to answer the question, it is difficult. So we turn our attention to the setup of toric varieties, because there is a combinatorial object associated to them. And so the computations are much more easier and much more concrete. So before even defining them, let us look at a prototypical example, which is the example of a complex projective space. So the we consider the n-dimensional complex projective space with the homogeneous coordinates are z0 up to zn. Then there is a open subset of Pn, which is non-vanishing of this tuple z0 up to zn. And so this is isomorphic to C star power n, which is the algebraic n torus. And there is an action of T on Pn, which is given by T1 up to Tn dot z0 up to zn. where this z dot t1 z1 tn zn. So a toric variety is a normal variety X such that a torus T isomorphic to C star power n is a Zariski dense open subset of X, and the natural action of T on itself extends to an action of T on X. So as an example, we have the immediate examples of the n-dimensional torus and the affine n space and the projective space Pn. Another class of examples are given by projectivization of direct sum of line bundles on a toric variety and row up of a toric variety at an invariant subvariety. And we'll come to this set of examples again. Now one can consider equivariant trees over these toric varieties. So let X be a toric variety under the action of the torus T. Then for each T in T, we have the morphism X to X, which is coming from the action. And if sheaf E on X is called equivariant if for all T in T, there is this isomorphism phi T from T upper E to E, which has certain commutativity of diagram, which is this. So you have this map phi T prime T, and here we have T star phi T prime and phi T. So this diagram should commute. So again, we should look at some examples. The first example is the example of tangent bundle, OXD for NT invariant divisor. And then we have the natural examples of tangent bundle and cotangent bundle on a non-singular toric variety. And then again, tensor products, exterior products, symmetric products, etc. Equivariant trees are again equivariant. By Tanya. Then Kryachko classified equivariant vector bundles over arbitrary toric varieties in terms of linear algebra data, and he classified them roughly as vector spaces together with filtrations satisfying certain compatibility conditions. So this was generalized by Pauling to describe arbitrary equivariant sheaves. And he ultimately proved that the category of equivariant torsion-free coherent sheaves is equivalent to the category of family of multi-filtrations of finite dimensional vector spaces. So now instead of taking filtrations, we have to take multi-filtrations. From this description, we got that there is a one-to-one correspondence between equivariant subsheaves of an equivariant torsion-free coherent sheaf and the family of what is called as sub-multifiltrations. So then one can consider, talk about equivariant semi-stability of equivariant torsion-free sheaves. So semi-stability or stability was comparing the slope of subsheaves with slope of the sheaf. Now we will consider equivariant subsheaves and compare the slopes with the slope of the original sheaf. Again, it was shown by Bishash, De, Ganch, and Poddar that if you have an equivariant torsion-free sheaf on a non-singular projective toric variety, then the notion of semi-stability or stability is equivalent to the notion of equivariant semi-stability and stability. So using that, we can give a combinatorial criteria of semi-stability of equivariant torsion-free sheaf. I'm not going to describe this as in detail, but I'm going to give you some applications. So we can consider non-singular projective Fano toric variety with Picard number 2. So just non-singular projective toric variety with Picard number 2 was classified by Kleinschmidt, who showed that these are basically projectivization of some direct sum of line bundles over another projective space. So these AIs are non-negative integers. And if we further assume that this toric variety is Fano, then we have this condition on the integers. Then we show that the tangent bundle is unstable whenever this tuple is not the zero tuple on this tuple 0, only the AR is 1. And now if R is 1 and then you have this situation, then the tangent bundle is unstable for S greater or equal to 2, and it's strictly semi-stable for S equal to 1. So strictly semi-stable means which is semi-stable but not stable. And if R is bigger than 1 and you have this situation of 0, 0, 1, then the tangent bundle is semi-stable if and only if you have this condition involving the integers rs. And if we are in this situation of the zero tuple, then the tangent bundle is strictly semi-stable. Now, we were looking at the higher dimension picture of semi-stability of tangent bundle of Fano varieties. So in particular, now we are considering toric Fano fourfolds, and they were classified by Batirev and Sato into 124 non-isomorphic classes. So the question of stability of the tangent bundle was completely answered by Nakagawa. And for semi-stability, up to Picard number 2, it was answered by Bishash, De, Ganch, and Podda. So what we did was consider that this toric Fano fourfolds with Picard number less than equal to 3. And there are 28 of them, and we have found out the complete answer to this and have summarized all this in a table. So yeah, so mostly these are all mostly they are unstable. So here also mostly they are unstable. Only these two are stable, and there are 3 of them which are strictly semi-stable. So these 19s are projectivization of, and then again there are these remaining of them where these are all blow-ups, and this is G1 is neither a blow-up nor a projectivization. And again, so we see that most of them are unstable and only few cases they're stable. Okay, so I'll stop here.
Okay, thank you, Jyoti, for the talk. Any questions? You can either ask, unmute yourself and ask, or type in the chat.
Yeah, I have a question. Can I ask now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so you throughout this talk, you are disproving something that it is unstable. The tangent bundle is unstable for Picard rank up to 3. So this semi-stability depends on the polarization. So is it like unstable for all polarization or for some particular polarization
No.
you're taking?
Okay, so I forgot to mention that when we are considering toric Fano varieties and semi-stability of tangent bundle on them, we're considering it with respect to only that anti-canonical divisor. So I don't know
I
if
see.
it is unstable with respect to every ample divisor, but definitely those results are only for anti-canonical divisor.
Yeah, and one more thing that so if you, instead of taking Fano varieties, suppose if someone takes bot towers, so it will have a more and more Picard number depending on its height.
Right.
So in that case, is it known that the tangent bundle is semi-stable or unstable with respect to some fix?
So we actually wanted to do that also, but turns out that as the Picard numbers grow larger and larger, the computations become more and more. So that's why if one is able to write out some algorithm, then I think it can be done. Otherwise, we could not find.
Oh, at least for Hisebu surfaces, is it done?
Yeah. Hisebu surface case is there in the Fano. Actually, what I've today said for the Fano Picard number 2, that result is also there in our paper for the non-Fano case also. So I did not mention it here because it will involve some more terms. But yeah, so for Picard number 2.
Okay, yeah, I understand, because it's direct sum of line bundles.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so let's thank Jyoti again for the nice talk. Thank you, Jyoti.
Thank you.